Hey friend, welcome to my podcast, The Fit Soul. I'm your host, Amy Ramsey. In this podcast, we will be discussing soul-filled strategies to unleash your confidence, increase your energy, and all the things healthy lifestyle. If you're a Christian woman who is ready to reach your God-given potential, walk worthy of your calling with abundant joy and energy, girlfriend, you are in the right spot. I mean, you only have one life to live. You might as well maximize it. Buckle in, and thanks for listening.
Hello, and you guys, welcome back to the Fit Soul podcast. And I am so excited to have back on the podcast today my friend, Carrie Watts. Carrie, welcome.
I'm so pumped to be here. Very excited.
Yes. In fact, you've actually been in the studio all day long, haven't you?
Correct. I have. Since 8:30 this morning.
Yes. And it's almost 5 o'clock, I believe, by the time we're doing this. She's been recording her book, and we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you guys. So I'm so glad that you're here. We have got a great conversation. Carrie's been an inspiration to so many people. And the last time I had her on my podcast, we were promoting her book. It was launch mode, go time. She was working her butt off to get that baby into the world. And I just got to know Carrie last, I guess really, was it over the summer that we started working together?
Yeah. I contacted you probably April or May.
Okay.
And we started working together right about end of May, 1st of June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Carrie's a one-on-one coaching client of mine, but we're not here to so much talk about that. We're here to really talk about her book. And I want to talk about a bigger conversation around that. It's just about being activated and walking worthy and moving forward in your calling and doing it in obedience. And the reality is that is a scary place to be.
Mm-hmm.
There are obstacles that are about to come at you fast. And then when you decide to move purposefully into your God's calling, you've got a doggone enemy, a target on your back. And the enemy's like, oh, let me sucker punch her with every insecurity she thought she ever had. Any self-doubt that she thought was there, I'm about to amplify it and make it louder. So I'm really excited because you've been such an encouragement. And I really feel like an inspiration to so many people, Carrie.
Well, thank you. I feel the same about you. That's why I hired you as my coach.
Okay, so first of all, give us an update. Well, tell us a little bit about your book. So I forgot to do a formal introduction.
Sure.
I'm sorry. So Carrie's amazing, and she is a wife. She is a mom to 3 boys. She's a daughter. She's a sister. I feel like there's a song that kind of goes with that as well. She's a follower of Jesus Christ, and she is a new author.
Yes.
Yeah, you are. And she's a podcast host.
Yes, I'm so excited.
And
I love
she's a
it.
keynote speaker.
Yeah, done it once.
Yes,
Hopefully
and
I'll
do
get
it
to do it again. Yeah. Very exciting.
Yes, so welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking me.
Tell us a little bit about the Crisis of Faith, your book, and tell us a little bit. You've been on before, so we've kind of shared the backstory to it.
Yeah.
But tell us what's happened since you've launched it and where it is now.
Okay, great. Well, it launched at the end of November, and it sold 1,000 copies in pre-order alone, which I did not know at the time. It wasn't until early December that my publisher sort of let me know. Because what happens in the publishing world is people buy books and sometimes they send them back. So they don't really tell you how many you've sold until usually about 90 days out. And so
can we I just want to rewind that just a little bit. 1,000 copies in pre-order, especially for a debut book, is tremendous. I mean, this is such a huge accomplishment. It speaks to you. It speaks to your level of influence, honestly. And it speaks to just God behind you and pushing you forward. So that was a huge accomplishment. I don't want that to fall on, oh yeah, I sold 1,000 copies. No. You sold 1,000 copies. That's amazing.
It's kind of wild because our publisher used to hold up, a certificate that was framed beautifully and, in his Zoom calls and say, hey, I'm going to award y'all with this when you sell 1,000 copies. And I was like, dream, I'm going to make that a goal. And before I knew it, it had been done. And that was thanks to you for having me on your podcast early. I had another podcast that I was on early. And that was huge. I mean, that was integral in that happening. Yes, I was asking people to be on my book launch team months in advance. Yep. Probably started that in August, September, October, before the book was launched in November. And so I was putting the message out. But for now, in this environment that we live in, it's all about podcasting and social media. And I have so many friends that are afraid to talk about themselves online. But if they want to meet their reader, if they want to meet their ideal reader or their ideal servant, the service that they're giving, then you've got to get the word out. And, you mentioned my speech in Charlotte, North Carolina. When I did speak, I did tell my friends that as nicely as I could say it is don't be afraid to talk about yourself online. Because if the Lord has brought you to a place where he wants to use you, then that's where our people are right now. That's where everybody is online. So,
I love that. And can we just take that apart just a little bit?
Yeah.
Because when you have a mission, when you have a message, the way we do reach people, number one is one-on-one. But when you're in a space where Carrie is and it's a published book and it's getting it out to the world, then the marketing becomes social media, it becomes YouTube, it becomes podcasting, Instagram, social media. I don't know, are you on TikTok? I mean, whatever. It's like all of the places. It's an email list and sending out emails. It's a very robust approach and it's getting the message out. And that's very different than self-promotion. Self-promotion is all about me, look at what I'm doing. And that's not at all what your mission is at all, nor is mine for that matter. So it's not about self-promoting and bragging about yourself, but no, it's rather about utilizing a platform. I heard a podcast. I need to send it to you. It was so good. I'll have to look it up. I can't even remember the lady's name right now. But she was just talking about King Solomon. And she said, if King Solomon were alive today, as much content as he wrote, as quickly as he wrote it, he would have been all over all of the venues like modern day King Solomon would have been all over the places. And I was like, that's right. I think that's absolutely right to get the message out, to get the kingdom message out.
Yeah. Our publisher compares online social media to the Roman road. He said, the Romans built that to go take over the world.
That's right.
But then the Christians went out and were able to witness and testify in the name of Jesus Christ on that same road.
Yeah.
So we can use it for good or we can use it for bad, and we choose to use it for good.
That's right.
And so, yeah.
That's right.
I thought that was a great visual.
I love that. Okay, so your podcast is called Saved and Strong, and
It
you
is.
Started that since you were last on my podcast, and that's going super well, and that's on all of the platforms, Apple, all the places.
Yeah.
Daniel Anderson, you use Alchemy, Anderson Alchemy Studios.
Audio Alchemy Productions.
Thank you. I can never get it right. Daniel's like, please get it right for the love. Okay. So that's where we are today. And you guys, if you're looking to do a podcast or do some recording, we both highly recommend Daniel. He's incredible. You'll love working with him. Okay. So I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. When we were doing coaching together, you said something recently. I can't even remember what we were on. But you're in motion, and we went through the high performance habits to kind of help you get through that last part of writing the book. Right?
It was huge.
It was huge, right?
Yes.
We set goals and deadlines and timelines, and that's part of what I do one-on-one work. And it's a very customized process too. It's like, here's the framework, and then there's always fluidity to take this piece or that piece, whatever we needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned something recently about how the habits and some of the things that you've learned have kept you going. So it wasn't just, we weren't just coaching together for that, but I wanted to just as a woman who's in motion, who is purpose-filled, I think sometimes high performance can feel intimidating. Oh, I don't know about that. Let's just call it ambitious, driven, purpose filled, but there's certain things that we have to have in place to move forward in a way that makes sense. And so I just wanted to ask you, like, we haven't had a talk ahead of time to say, what are they?
Right.
But just what are you using now still out of that's really helping you?
I would just say the day-to-day schedule, getting up early, getting everything written down in that high-performance journal is huge. Keeping the alarms on my phone, reminding myself, spurring my brain on to not get distracted,
That's right.
to stay focused, to stay intentional about my day, clarity of thought, and just, listening to your daily affirmations. Those are huge when they came through. Just seeing your name is like, oh yeah, I've got to do this. I've got to stay the course.
Yeah.
Because I can easily get distracted. But now that I have the book out and the podcast going, there's always something going on. When you start, I guess, serving God in obedience, there is never a dull moment. I have people reaching out to me all the time. I've had people, I laid this book at the foot of the cross a long time ago. And I was like, Lord, if you really want me to do this, I honestly have no idea what I'm doing. I don't feel like I have the tools. But if you really want me to do it, you're going to have to send the people. And the people have come. I mean, it has been amazing. Yes. So between, my coaching with you and keeping all of those tools in my tool pouch, as you will, knowing what to do is big. But also people coming to me and saying, can I help you with your social media? Can I encourage you to do this? Can I encourage you to do that? And just the support, people coming to me and telling me. I had a friend ask me if she could take me to lunch with her mom, and they just wanted to tell me how much they enjoyed the book, and why don't I have a Bible study to go with it, and why don't I have a discussion guide? And now now I'm starting a book club. It's just going to be Don't ask me about that because it's not out there yet, but it's coming.
Yeah,
and because people want to talk about what's in the book, because it's more than just a story; it's a way of life.
It is a way of life. Okay, there's a lot that I want to unpack in what you just said. I think I'm going to start from the end and then move back. But the book is called A Crisis of Faith, and it's about two girls in their coming of age, and one has
childhood trauma,
sexual abuse, and it's really written for adolescents, teens, young adults. Well, it was riveting. In fact, I got an early copy. I was fortunate to get an early copy. And I knew that I knew what the premise of the book was about because I'd been coaching with her. So I knew it was coming. And any male that was introduced into the plot or story, I was like, son of a gun, it was him. I knew it was him. And it wasn't. It was like the gardener. But anyway, I was on the edge of my seat reading the book. The book is so good. I don't think it is I think it's for adults. And I love the fact that God's using you with this and that there's more coming. But I think it's just a conversation that starts to open up because so many people are walking around with traumas that are unresolved, and it's hindering and stopping all of the freedom that Christ wants them to experience here on this earth, even with all of the trauma that they've experienced before. It's possible.
Yes.
In God's economy.
Yes. Yes. And the story, it's funny. You write a book and you think you know it by heart, and then just rereading those chapters today, there were portions that I forgot that were in there and that still make me emotional, that bring out emotions in me that I'm like, I am just amazed that the Lord gave me those words. Because I say, when I sit down to write, I really do feel like God is the author. I'm just the fingers typing on the keys. And I really do surrender that to him whenever I sit down and write. I'm just like, you have to help me because I don't know what you want me to write today. And so it has been an amazing partnership with the Holy Spirit just to give me those words. It's been real sweet. It's been a real blessing. It really has. I feel like I finally found out what I'm supposed to do with the rest of my life at 50. And I say that all the time. Yeah.
Your second half is your best half, right?
Yeah.
I loved when we were coaching, you would say, I wake up early. You were still finishing writing the book then, but I wake up early and I sit and God sits right beside me.
Yeah.
And we just do it together. And that's just such a beautiful picture of your partnership with God. And that's what our lives are created to be. God wants us to partner with him every single day.
Yeah.
A couple of things that you really talked through in the book is walking in forgiveness and the power of that, the power of that. And that's, it's freedom for us.
Yes.
It's freedom for us.
Yeah. And then he gives us people and friends to walk it out with, you know?
Yes. And then the other thing that I wanted to like kind of unpack from that last thing that you just said was just the obedience that you have. I mean, this is a daunting task. And I work with a lot of women, and a lot of women will never take the action steps, never move forward in it, or take 20 years to do the project. And you did it. You were like, no, I've got to do this. I have to obey. And I'm like, you don't have to. Actually, I'm glad that you are. A lot of people don't. What can you say to the woman who is like, oh, but that's Carrie. She's just great. And she's just this. But what can you say to her for her to move forward in her obedience, whatever that thing is that God's calling her to do?
Yes. Well, I read your email this morning about how you're reading through the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've ever read through the Bible, you know that especially in the Old Testament, it is proven over and over and over when the Israelites obeyed, they received the blessing. And when they didn't, they did not receive the blessing and they suffered.
Yeah.
And so I just knew that the Lord was calling me to this place of writing. I prayed about it for years, and I stepped into obedience with my tiptoe. So I joined a writing group, and then I would journal on my own. And I started a blog, but it was a very quiet blog. It was on, just something that nobody ever reads. And every now and then I would share one. And my mother-in-law was my biggest fan. She's like, Carrie, you got to write a book. Carrie, you got to write a book. Carrie, you got to write a book. So I just, in communication with God, I just said, when you make it clear, when that door opens wide open, then I will know, right? Because you just know when the Lord makes it happen.
Yeah.
And so just one thing at a time, little by little, responsibilities were taken or, moved on. And it just sort of opened my time up to write more. Because before, God's timing is not our timing. And before, I would not have had the time to commit. It would have been a much slower process. But now I do have the time to commit, and I have the support from my husband, and I have, just kids that have grown, and only one at home. He's very independent. So it just allowed for me to write more and to commit to the time to serve him in this way. And it's been beautiful. But I would say to the person who's hesitating, who has the time, who has the energy, I would say that, just read some of your favorite characters in the Bible. When they were obedient, they received the blessing. And I have always had a 10 years out kind of rule for myself. In 10 years, when I look back, what am I going to wish I should have, could have done better?
Oh, I like that.
And so I always thought, you know what? When I look back, am I going to regret not doing this at 50? Because I'm not going to have the energy at 60. Or I'm not going to have the whatever. You never know what tomorrow brings. I may not even be here anymore. Yeah. So, I just didn't want to look back in 10 years and regret it. And I think the events in the world of the last 5 years really motivated me. Yeah. I mean, between, everything, COVID, politics, all the things, I had to get my mind off of that. And for this, writing for me is therapy. Creating for me is therapy, whether I'm painting a room or,
Pickleball.
Or pickleball. Yeah. And for some people, it would stress them to the max. Yeah. It's not for everybody. Yeah. But for me, that just it really relaxed me. It really did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Are you ready to awaken your spirit? elevate your life, and unleash every bit of that potential that's inside of you, oh, girl, let me tell you, the Worthy Woman Summit is a transformational, joy-filled gathering designed to help you embrace your God-given worth, equip you with powerful tools, and help you elevate every area of your life. Here's the deal. You are created for more. You're created for more joy, more confidence, more faith, and more impact. Can you imagine being in a room full of faith-filled, purpose-driven women just like you who are ready to grow and step into their calling and walk in bold confidence? At this summit, you're going to experience faith-filled sessions that inspire you, that equip you for personal growth, and also wellness workshops to elevate your energy and confidence-boosting style tips to help you shine. You will walk away with tips on how to manage yourself and your time and increase your productivity. It is going to be amazing. And this is your chance to meet like-minded women, to make powerful connections. This isn't just an event. It's a faith-driven, high-energy experience where you're going to find your people, unlock your potential, and walk boldly in your purpose. You'll leave with clarity, with confidence, and the unshakable belief that your best days are ahead. But here's the thing. Opportunities like this don't come every day. You need to be in this room. Don't sit on the sidelines of your life. Come join us at the Worthy Woman Summit. And I cannot wait to see you there.
When God calls us to whatever it is, it's calling forth the way that he's wonderfully designed us.
Yes.
He created you to be a writer, to be a communicator. That was already inside of you.
Yeah.
And then you skilled up. This is what I heard. You took steps. You found a group. You found support
Yes.
in that Hope Writers and finding the right producer. You hired me. You continue to surround yourself with support. Your husband is a big supporter. Your mother-in-law, as you mentioned.
Yes.
So you built for yourself a community, and you joined a community, and then you found more support when you needed that added layer of support
Yeah.
to help you go and to do and to just be what let what God put inside of you come out. One time and I just assumed you loved English and writing and like all of this stuff, because for me, I'll never forget, because English is not like, I'm like, is that? I mean, I put the wrong words together. It's ridiculous. It's kind of funny, actually. But I remember the first blog I wrote. It was a smoothie recipe, and it was like one paragraph at the top, and then the ingredients, and then maybe a paragraph at the bottom. It took me like 3 days to write this one silly blog, right?
It does take a while to create social media posts. It
Yeah,
does.
well, I mean, I'm quicker now
yeah.
and better. You get better. That's the thing. It always takes you longer when you first start. But I just assumed you were like this beautiful, eloquent writer, and you're like, oh no, I'm terrible. My grammar's awful, and all of this. I was like, wait, what? You just wrote a book. How did this happen?
I know.
Like, you didn't let that stop you. And some people would say, oh, but no, I need to go get like an English degree, or I have to go buy this course, or I have to do whatever. You didn't. You were just like, you took messy, scrappy action. And girl, I just love that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I am kind of competitive too. There is a little competitive edge to me. And sometimes I give myself my own goals, and I like to meet them.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the reward of knowing it's done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's definitely that too.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, what's really interesting is that whoever they are, but there's some science around when you do something really, really hard in your brain, it breaks off more of dormant DNA. It actually unlocks and unleashes even more of your potential. And that's why when we accomplish something really, really hard, it sucks. It's hard going through it. It's hard in the preparation process. But when you cross that finish line, it's like, yes, I did it.
Yes.
You know, it just feels so good.
It does.
Yeah.
It is. It is definitely wonderful.
Yes.
But this time last year, I was struggling to finish that book.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I didn't know if it would ever get done, to be honest. And because it was my first time, and you just don't know in the mess of it how to see the forest through the trees,
That's
you know,
right.
to see the prize at the end, you know, and I just kept plugging along because in my mind I didn't want to ever say that I started something and didn't finish it. I like to finish what I started.
I love that.
And I have too many crafts in my closet that I started and never finished.
That's right.
And I was like, this is not going to be one of those.
No. I love that. I love that. Okay. So, Carrie, let's just talk about that for just a little bit. I like that you were honest and said that it was hard. It was hard. And I know for myself that in the things that I've pushed through, I have almost quit. I don't know how many times. I mean, there's been several times that like I was on the cusp of going, God, you've got the wrong girl. Like this, I mean, it makes me want to tear up now. This is too hard. This is too hard. And sometimes what people don't realize, sometimes they'll walk through that obstacle. They'll hit the natural resistance of doing something hard and think it's too hard, and they'll quit in that moment. And so what could you say to maybe somebody who's in that I was about to say ninth quarter, but that's not right. Ninth inning or seventh inning or
seventh inning
or whatever that analogy is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Where the struggle is real. They know God's called them to do something, but it actually feels too hard. What would you say to her or him?
Well, I would say that, you know, if you've ever run a marathon, there are so many people on the sidelines that are cheering you on, especially if you're in New York, Paris, Dublin. And I ran in DC. And, you know, it's just it's a lot of poster board. You can do this. I've run in Paris. Ali, that's like, you go, girl.
Uh-huh.
But they're like more New Orleans. You know, they've got the bands and they've got everybody cheering you on. And then Dublin is, well done, Lassie. Well done. And they've got the nursing home people in the wheelchairs on the sideline. And so I say, like, I would say, get some people around you. Tell them what you're struggling with. Don't do it alone. Have some cheerleaders. Have some loving people who will encourage you, check on you daily. Hey, how's it going? And tell people what you're working on. Because I posted, hey, I'm writing a book. I had more people walk up to me at the grocery store and say, hey, how's your book going?
Yeah.
Have you finished your book? And I would say, no, but will you ask me next time? Will you text me next week and ask me how that book's going? And because I felt accountable, I mean, a capital A accountable with exclamation marks. That's what kept me going, was the accountability from people that, whether I hired them like a coach or a publisher or just a friend or an acquaintance that was encouraging me to get it done. I can't wait to read your book. I'm like, then you have the imposter syndrome come in. You know, that's a whole nother podcast.
That's right.
But yes, you just keep going because you have that accountability and people wanting to know. They want to know more.
So so you can hear this, somebody needs to hear this in this moment. Self-doubt, check. Insecurity, check. Imposter syndrome, check. All of the negative emotions will arise at the highest level you could ever think. It will rock you to your core. There were a couple of times that I swear, I was just under a desk somewhere crying like a little girl. Just, I quit. It's too hard. And I didn't quit. And you want to, but you've got to keep going. You got to keep going. So push through. Somebody there's somebody on the other side that needs to hear what you've got or whatever this is that God's put on your heart. Somebody. It's not even about you. It's about that obedience. And I promise you, what you have to offer, just like Carrie, she probably had no idea it was going to reach and touch so many lives. And baby, we just getting started. Like, you just getting started. Like, there's all this, the cookbook's even coming out of this stuff. I mean, who knows what's next, right?
Yeah.
But somebody's waiting on that. And so what I heard was you skilled up, you got yourself in the right places to help nurture you. You were posting, you had natural accountability. you had the right support system, and you had just a group. And so as we're starting to wrap this up, one of the things that, oh, wait, I wanted to share a funny story.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
made me laugh so much. So Carrie was asked to speak a keynote, kind of like, and that's a big deal to be asked to speak a keynote. She's a wonderful speaker. And she was asked, and she was like, you posted something in. So she's now in, I have a program called Walk Worthy Mentorship, and she's in that program. We have a Facebook group, we have community built in there, and so she's got a whole group of ladies, Walk Worthy ladies. Little shout out to all y'all. But we're all Team Carrie, and we're all supporting her in
Yes,
there.
it's
And
sweet.
she dropped something in the Walk Worthy Mentorship Facebook group and said, "I was going to lead a breakout session, but they have asked me to speak on the center stage and do a keynote." Read that again. You said that. You said, read that again.
On the power of belonging
On the power of belonging
and finding your people.
and finding your people.
Yes.
Yes. And so she had a whole group of people praying her up. It's a big deal to speak a keynote, to speak for the first time is a big deal. And so she had all of these things, and she was so excited about it. And she had us on a group, and she's like, I'm going up. And she had a whole group of people praying for her. Well, I knew she was probably through speaking. And so I texted her on the side. I'm like, how did it go? And your response was classic. I loved it. You said, I was a hit. They loved me. I just love that so much.
Oh, yeah. All my friends, all my writing friends were there, and they rushed the stage afterwards, and they were just, very encouraging and supportive. It was so sweet.
You are a hit.
It was a sweet. And a year ago, I was sitting on the front row going, my teeth chattering, and my attitude was completely different at that point. And I will admit that my attitude was, Lord, why me? Why are you asking me to do this? I don't know what my next step is. And so there was some a little fear there, and I hate to even admit that, but the confidence level after it was done was completely different. This year versus next year, I'm a completely different person.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Reach that.
Yeah.
Reach that. I just love that. Okay. So when I started to plan, it was a vision that I got for this Worthy Woman Summit, there were a group of 5 that came up, and you were on it. And so Carrie is going to be speaking. She's a leader in the Worthy Woman Summit. She's helping me from this grassroots effort to help get people to share, to encourage ladies. Ladies, let us just tell you, we want you to come join us at the Worthy Woman Summit. You'll get to hear this remarkable woman speak and hear all the wisdom and the insight that she has. And so, Carrie, why do you think it's important? I know that you've gone to conferences and you've come out changed on the other side. Why are we so passionate about get in the room? Why is it so important to get in the right rooms?
Because when you get out, you'll be a better person, and you'll take copious notes. You'll meet wonderful people. You'll network with other people. You'll make new friends. We're just made for connection. We're made for fellowship. We're just made to be in a room with other women.
That's right.
Because you don't know what you have in common with somebody until you meet them.
That's right.
And I have had so many divine appointments at these conferences of people I didn't know I needed to know, and I needed to know them.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. It's so important. You get yourself in the room. I get myself in the room. I just got back from a big event with my mastermind, and going to events literally changed my life. And I was so scared the first time I went to one by myself. I didn't know a soul, but there was something in me that just knew I was supposed to go. It was actually in Charlotte. I've been to 2 in Charlotte, absolutely by myself. I didn't know a soul. Like, I got on a plane and just went. And it was scary. I was scared to go by myself. Perfectly normal. So I just want to encourage you, if you're looking to up-level your faith and to up-level your life, to unleash your potential, the Worthy Woman Summit is March 27th. We've got a fun kickoff party, and then it is a high energy, it's so dynamic, so energetic. the things that we have planned for 2 full days, March 28th and 29th. Some tickets are still available, and we would love to have you come and join us. Bring a friend. I got a text today that said, is that 4-pack friend still available? Yes, it is. It sure is. Grab your friends and come join us. All right, Carrie, thank you for being here again. I appreciate you so much. And I'm your biggest cheerleader. I'm so excited.
I know you are.
I feel like I've got like popcorn with a whole bunch of butter, and I like M&Ms in my popcorn watching a movie, like
awesome.
to melt just a little bit. But I feel like I'm eating popcorn in my M&Ms and like, okay, God, just use or go. It's going to be amazing.
I know. It has been a sweet partnership. Thank you, Amy. I have enjoyed being here and being part of your life for the last 8 or 9 months. It's been fun.
I can't believe it's only been 8 or 9 months. It's amazing what God does in his capacity.
Yes.
You know, when we look at that in like abundance versus scarcity and time, it's like God multiplies time.
Yes.
We think we're too old.
Yes.
It's too late. There's not enough time. I can't. No. Go chase your dreams. Go do the thing that God's called you to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, friend. Thanks for being here. All right. If you are interested in the Worthy Woman Summit, you can check the show notes. And as always, I want to say thank you for being here on the podcast. I think this is episode number 117. Wow. Yes, this is the faith-fueled woman's secret weapon, which is community. We need each other. All right, y'all. Bye.
Girlfriend, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm so honored you come back every week and that you share the Fit Soul podcast with your friends and family. Every time you share my podcast on Instagram or Facebook, I do a little happy dance. Make sure you subscribe to the Fit Soul podcast where you'll never miss an episode. You can go to Podcast, Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify and subscribe so you'll never miss an episode release. And just know, I truly love bringing you excellent content and great guests to provide you motivation and faith inspiration to help you walk worthy. And one of the ways you can help me is to go and leave the Fit Soul podcast a review. If you have just a moment, would you please go over and leave a review for the Fit Soul podcast? Thank you again. I love you. And here is your reminder. You are worthy. Until next time. Bye-bye.